Hello, welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different, something I haven't done before. I'm going to just walk you through some post-processing. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to look at a particular image, one image, and go from beginning to end on the post-processing, showing you a few techniques as to how I take an ordinary image and hopefully make it into something a bit more extraordinary. For today's image, we're going to look at this shot of the Italian chapel in Orkney, built by the Italian prisoners of war there, based on two Nissan huts, which you can see here behind it. Quite an amazing building, actually. But it was a dull, overcast day, so the initial shot here doesn't look anything particularly spectacular. Let's see what we can do with it with a little bit of Lightroom magic. First of all, let's just talk about the settings on here. Firstly, I was shooting at f4. Maybe that's not the best setting to have. f8 would have been a little bit better, but actually when I zoom in, everything that needs to be sharp is sharp. So I'm good with this image. I'm happy with it. The other thing to note about it is there's a slight tilt to it. The verticals aren't quite right, so that's very, very easy to fix using the transform panel. Now I've moved my transform panel up to second in the list because I use it a lot. So let's just try auto on here and see what it does. And auto, as you can see, it's straightened the horizons, it's made the verticals vertical, and it's corrected very, very slightly the converging verticals. So happy with that. Next thing to look at, and one of the first things I often do with an image, is to think about the white balance on it. Well, on this occasion, it was on auto white balance when the image was taken in the camera. I'm going to change that to cloudy because that better represents what the light was like. And that was a very, very subtle change. I don't know whether you can see it on the video, but it's just warmed it up very slightly on there. And that's a much more accurate white balance for the particular scene that we're in. And it's that little bit of warmth that is what it needed. Now, the thing that stands out about this image is this dull, featureless sky. How dull is it? How featureless is it? Well, I took care when I was creating the image to make sure I didn't blow the highlights out. In actual fact, I took several shots with slightly different exposures just to be able to find the one where that was closest to the right side of the histogram without being overexposed. So this is the image I've got. Right, is there detail there? Well, easy way to find out, I'm going to push the highlights all the way down to 100. And I can just about start to see a little bit of detail in the clouds there. So I know I've got the information, I just need to find a way to bring it out. Now, there are a number of techniques you can use for that, and it just depends on the image. Quite often, clarity is a good slider to use for that. And you can see a little bit with it, but I don't like what it's doing to the rest of the image, and it's not making a huge impact on the sky. So yeah, I'm not going to go with clarity. Let's reset that. Double click on there. Texture sometimes can help. That's, again, it's done a little bit, but I'm a bit wary about what it's done to the foreground on there. So if I'm going to use texture, I'm probably going to use it on to paint it on with a selection with a brush. So I'll have a little bit of texture from it like that. But I think the biggest difference that we're going to get is from the dehaze slider. So if I bring that up, we can start to see, yes, the detail that's coming out from the sky there. And that's what I'd sort of expect, really. And that the dehaze is designed to find detail on flat featureless images and to pull it out, particularly where the bluey colours are, and to deal with that. So that's a good choice. It's worked well for that. But what it has done is it's darkened the rest of the image. So what I need to do is if I bring the shadows up to counteract that, and bring the shadows up to, into about the 70s, I should think, there. Maybe just a tad on the exposure, but no, it doesn't really need much on that. So that's already starting to look quite good. One of the things the dehaze slider does is add a bit of vibrance to the image. Now I like my images quite vibrant, so I'm happy with that. Do I want a little bit more? Maybe. Don't want to give it too much, and perhaps just a slight touch of saturation, just for those areas that the vibrance slider hasn't touched. So that's now starting to look quite good. There are a couple of things I want to do with the image just to finish. I'm just thinking those shadows may need to come up a little higher. Can I do it on the exposure? No, too much. About there. Yeah, the last couple of things I want to do to it is this area on the left hand side. It's not really adding much to the image. There's not much detail in the cloud over here, and not much worth looking at down here. So I want to crop that out. So let's use R for cropping. Now, I tend to crop to the image rather than to a fixed aspect ratio. So on this one, if I bring in to about here, I think I might want to just keep one of the stumps there. Do I want to lose the stump on this side or not? I'm not sure. I think I'll just cut into it very, very slightly. And I think that is quite reasonable. Now, what remains to happen on that? I think a very slight vignette will help to it. So I come down to the effects panel, and I'm just going to bring that up very, very slightly, wrong way. Move it up to something like that. And here's a little tip for doing vignettes. Always bring them in a little too close, and then turn your attention to the image. Do not put the mouse over the pointer so that you can control it, but don't look at the slider. I'm just going to put my hand over it so I can't actually see it. And as I slide that back, I want to bring it back to a point where it almost looks as though there's no vignette, which is probably about there for me. I'll release. Now I'll have a look. And actually it's on -19, which is a reasonable vignette. Let's see how much it actually has made a difference to it by toggling the effect on and off. Oops. And you can see there, as I toggle it on and off, actually the vignette has added a fair bit to the image, but it doesn't look as though there's a vignette, and that's the secret to it. So all in all, I think I'm quite happy with that image now. So let's just have a look at what it looks like, the before and after comparison. The before image, dull, a bit boring, and after the work on it, we've got more detail in there. The sky is now interesting. There's that little hint of colour in it and a little bit of texture, and it sort of frames the chapel. So I hope you found that exercise helpful. If you did, please post a comment in below. One of the things that will really help me on YouTube is comments. It helps push my rankings up on there, believe it or not. So if you like it, please add a comment. If you like generally what I do on this YouTube channel, please subscribe and press that little bell icon so you don't miss new videos as they come out. And I look forward to talking to you next time. So until then, keep making great photos, and thanks for watching.
This has been an iansstudio video presentation by Ian M. Butterfield. All content and photographs are copyright Ian M. Butterfield and may not be reproduced without prior permission. For more information, including how to subscribe to this and other videos, please visit www.ians-studio.co.uk/videos. Thank you.